Hello students, we are going to learn the next class to treat congestive heart failure. The next class is of ionotropic agents, which consist of digoxin and dobutamine. These are two main drugs of this class. And how these ionotropic agents act, they are going to increase the force of contraction of heart. When you increase the force of contraction of heart, you are going to increase the ejection fraction of the left ventricle. That ultimately increases the stroke volume. An increase in the stroke volume meaning increased oxygenated blood given into your systemic circulation per contraction, per systolic contraction. So before that, before going into what exactly digoxin or dobutamine when it goes inside your body is going to do, before learning that, you need to know what is the contraction mechanism of cardiac myocyte. So cardiac myocyte, cardiac heart, myo is muscle. Myo is muscle. So basically, what is happening? So which are the components this is your cardiac myocyte. Which components you need to know here? One is, K plus, that is potassium, sodium, ATPase pump. If you see, it is allowing potassium entry inside the cell and sodium is going out. Then second is sodium calcium exchanger. As the name indicates, it is again antiporter or exchanger wherein sodium comes in and calcium goes out. Then there are voltage gated L-type calcium ion channels which are present. Okay. So basically when the action potential is going to reach, these channels are opening and calcium gets entry inside. Okay. And lastly, sarcoplasmic reticulum which stores calcium ion. This sarcoplasmic reticulum has ryanodine receptors to which calcium can bind and induce the calcium release inside the cell. So you have to understand now, all of you know, for contraction of a cell, calcium is required. So calcium has to come inside the cell in more amount when you want muscle to contract. So there are two entry points. One is these voltage gated ion channel through which calcium can come, and another is your sarcoplasmic reticulum through which calcium can come and show its action. So what exactly happens when the action potential reaches the cardiac myocyte? Action potential reaches the cardiac myocyte, it opens up the calcium channels. So lot of calcium start entering inside the cell. This calcium which is entered now binds to ryanodine receptors. Binding of calcium to ryanodine receptors causes exit of calcium from sarcoplasmic reticulum and entry of it into your sarcoplasm or cytoplasm of the muscle. Because of these two reasons, you have lot of calcium now which is concentrated inside the cardiac myocyte. So action potential reaches cardiac myocyte. It opens L-type voltage gated calcium ion channels. Calcium enters inside the cell. So there is increase in the calcium in cytoplasm and plus calcium induced calcium release from sarcoplasmic reticulum. This causes increase in calcium in the cytoplasm of the cell. And this calcium binds to contractile proteins and the contraction cycle begins. So this is how your normal cardiac myocyte is going to contract under normal circumstances. After each contraction, it should be relaxed, right? Contraction always follows relaxation. So how that occurs? Very interesting to know this, and this is very important for us to know. What happens? To stop contraction, the level of calcium here should go down. So what happens then? Once the contraction is done, calcium goes out with the help of sodium calcium exchanger. Okay, here calcium is going out, sodium is coming in. And also this calcium is reuptaked in the sarcoplasmic reticulum, because now, see, this is a receptor which is allowing entry or exit of the calcium. So when you have more calcium here and less calcium here, it will be given out. When you have more calcium here and less calcium here, it will be taken up. So for relaxation to occur, calcium re-enters the sarcoplasmic reticulum and there is a calcium efflux using sodium calcium antiporter or exchanger. So this is what happens at normal circumstances. Goal of our therapy will be now to increase the force of contraction or to prolong contraction, right? If I am able to enhance this particular phase, meaning if I am able to entrap calcium in cytoplasm for longer time, then I will be able to treat congestive heart failure here. Okay. So for that, these are the two areas which I can manipulate. Sarcoplasmic reticulum, how will I manipulate? That's a different story. But what if I manipulate something which is affecting this? What exactly happens is, digoxin, when present in the body, what it does? Digoxin acts on sodium potassium transporter here. You recall? Digoxin acts here. Sodium potassium transporter. So what happens when digoxin comes? Blocks this. Now what will happen as a result? The sodium which has to come out by using this antiporter doesn't come out. So lot of sodium gets entrapped here. Okay. So condition is lot of sodium is entrapped. It is not able to leave the cell because digoxin is acting here. Okay. Yeah. So because your digoxin is acting here, okay, suppose so digoxin has blocked this. So it has blocked the exit of sodium. So there is lot of sodium now. Okay. Lot of sodium present inside. It cannot leave the cell. Okay. So basically, now we recall again. Action potential reaches. Calcium gets an entry. Calcium induces release of calcium from sarcoplasmic reticulum. Contraction cycle begins. The contraction has to stop. When it stops, when the calcium will leave from this particular area. But to leave from this antiporter, to use this antiporter, sodium should come in. But now what has happened? There is lot of sodium already inside the cell. So entry of sodium inside the cell is inhibited. So exit of calcium outside the cell is also inhibited. So your calcium remains entrapped inside the cell. And this is how your digoxin acts. Again, we will recall. Just a second. So basically, if you see here, I have shown it in the flow diagram form. Digoxin inhibits sodium potassium ATPase. So sodium remains entrapped in the cell. Okay. Because of this, more and more sodium is available here, and which inhibits entry of sodium via this porter. So the calcium also remains entrapped. Entrapped calcium, what it does? It finds its way in the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So sarcoplasmic reticulum also become enriched with calcium. And now when the next action potential reaches myocyte, in presence of digoxin, opening of calcium ion channel, calcium enters the cell. Increased calcium is released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum than normal because there is lot of calcium is present than normal, and decreased calcium reuptake in the sarcoplasmic reticulum as more and more calcium is already present in the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So basically, free calcium available in the cytoplasm for action, that is contraction, is more in more amount, and that is how there is increase in the contraction force, and this leads to increase in cardiac contractility and increase in cardiac output, and this is nothing but positive ionotropic effect of digoxin. For you, I leave here to write a short note on digitalis toxicity. You can refer to any standard book which I have been telling you till now, and then you can write a short note on digitalis toxicity. Another action of digoxin or digitalis on conduction system of the heart. So basically, you know, there is a sinoatrial node here which has conduction to an atrioventricular node, and then there is conduction happening like this. Okay. So basically digoxin has effect on vagus nerve also. What it does, it causes upregulation of the vagus nerve. And this vagus nerve, when it is upregulated, it slows down the conduction. So it decreases the heart rate. So as an impact, what is happening is your heart is contracting with more force at lesser pace. So overall activity, that is ventricular filling, becomes more efficient and ejection fraction also increases. So these are the two effects of digitalis, and this is how it is used as an inotropic agent. Next class of drug is direct vasodilators, okay, which we will discuss in our next video.